Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We will wait for another 30 seconds to see if there are more people joining in. All right, let's begin the session. Next slide, please. Thank you all for joining us today for GMF webinar series. Each month, we talk about a new topic relevant to GMF programs. And today we are focusing on Sustainable Communities Awards. My name is is there a hand raise? Okay. My name is Vaishali Thaplial, and I'm the e-learning and events officer with the Green Municipal Fund. We are also joined by my two colleagues, Anne Charlotte and Sandrine, who will be working in the background, monitoring chat, Q&A box, and help us with the questions. Next slide, please. So I would like to start today's session with the land acknowledgement. I acknowledge that I am joining from the unceded and unsurrendered territory of Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples. This land is now called as Ottawa. Today's acknowledgement is a reminder of the responsibility we all share to respect Indigenous rights, honor Indigenous knowledge, and support meaningful reconciliation. Next slide, please. So before we dive in, a few housekeeping announcements. Today's presentation is both in French and English. There is an option of simultaneous interpretation, and you can choose a language of your choice by clicking a globe icon at the bottom of your screen. Our presentations for today are bilingual, and we have two guest speakers today, and you will get an opportunity to ask questions to them, but that will be at the end of session. You can use Q&A box to ask questions, and you can use comment box if you have any suggestion, feedback. You can use chat box to express yourself. You can write your questions in both French and English. We will be very happy to answer generic application related questions today. We understand that there might be some questions related to specifically your projects, but due to time constraint, we will not be take those kind of questions. But we'll be very happy if you will write us at awards@fcm.ca. We'll be very happy to assist you. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we are trying to achieve today, as I mentioned that we have two guest speakers, they will share their success stories with us. We will start with a very unique trash to treasure at Hodgepodge Lodge, followed by very inspiring Longway 2030, a sustainable vision protecting 21% of its territory in perpetuity. After our guests part, we will talk about SCA, what should you work, you should work on your application, what are some best practices, what are do's, what are don'ts, and that will be followed by a Q&A where we will be very happy to take your questions. Next slide, please. So, because today we are talking about SCA, it's important to understand what GMF is, because SCA is one of the GMF's program. So GMF is FCM's biggest program. It is now a program of 2.4 billion funded by the government of Canada. We are unique because we offer a mix of funding and capacity building activities with clear environmental, economical, and social impact goals. And all this effort is to creating better lives for people in Canada. Since 2000, GMF has made many innovative municipal projects possible, and our funding and resources are available for all kind of municipalities, whether they are big or small. Next slide, please. All right, so I am very excited to introduce our panelists for today. So our first panelist is Erin Wildeboer. Erin is the supervisor of Waste Diversion Program and Outreach with Sartona County, where she has dedicated 18 years to helping build a more sustainable community. Passionate about environmental stewardship, Erin works closely with residents to empower everyday's choices and reduce waste. Known for her creative approach and ability to think outside the cart, she develops and delivers innovative program and outreach initiatives to make sustainability practical, accessible, and engaging for all. So, Erin, over to you for your part. We will be very excited to hear you today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's fun to be able to come here and talk about the lodge and about these awards. We can go to the next slide. So the Hodgepodge Lodge is a project that we've been working on for quite a few years, since 2017. It's a community reuse building, so everything that comes in it gets dropped off for free, and people can take everything for free. Next slide. Might go to the next one. So originally this started in 2016 when we opened our first eco station, and people would bring us things that were outside our household hazardous waste, and they said, we just don't need it anymore. It's perfectly good, but we just want to throw it away, and they would pay us to do it. So we thought that was crazy. So we had this little shed that you see here, and we literally dragged it with that skid steer over to the other corner of our property that wasn't being used. And we put some shelves in it and had about 10 volunteers that would come. Somebody would come once a day to help kind of clean it up and organize it. And then it went totally out of control. And it was insanely popular right off the get-go. So next slide, please. We knew that we wanted to build a new one and build it bigger, but we wanted to build it with our morals and ethics and our our principles in mind. So we wanted to build it with some upcycled, recycled, pre-loved materials. But that was, you can go to the next slide. Uh, that was extremely hard to do in the municipal world, and getting to procurement to understand that we didn't want new and fancy. We wanted used and loved and things like that. So that took about 3 years for us to get out of procurement that would allow us to go find a builder that would do this for us. Next one. So we finally did find a small builder, and we were able to incorporate quite a few different things that are not new, and we are proud of that. So we have a list on our lodge that tells people exactly all the things that we upcycled. So the next slide will give you a good example of one of the items. When you build a house, there's usually some shingles from the roof left over, and so we used those shingles to put on our roof. Go to the next slide. So that's the finished lodge right now. You can actually see all the plant pots that are on the left-hand side corner there. Obviously a summer photo where we have plenty of plant pots that come in. Next slide. So some information, some statistics about the lodge. It started in 2023 in March. We now currently have over 145 volunteers. There's 3 shifts per day, 5 shifts or 5 volunteers per shift. We have about 90% of that time is with one dedicated staff member on site. The rest is just left for the volunteers to handle. We have about 100, we'll probably get about 180, 185,000 visitors a year. The building is only 1,500 square feet. It's open 6 days a week, 6 months of the year, and 5 days a week, the other 6 months of the year. We have a pretty small budget of about $20,000 to run it every year, and most of that goes towards volunteer recognition. Next. So the concept of the lodge is that people will bring things in that they don't need anymore. They weigh it on one of the scales that we have there, write it on that yellow binder, the weight of it, and then put it in the green bin there. Behind that big sign is the sorting area where the volunteers sort everything, make sure it's okay to put out on the shelves. They put it out, people come and take it, shop, it's all for free. They weigh it on the way out, write it in the binder, and then take it home with them. We do weigh everything just to keep track of how much is coming in and out. We're currently just over 2 million pounds of things have come in and 2 million pounds of things have gone out. So we've got about a 96% diversion rate so far since being open in 2023. Next one. So this is just a couple slides of some of the things that we take at the lodge. What we don't take is a shorter list than what we do take. So you can skip to the next one. We have a small outdoor area and a covered outdoor area, but we don't take furniture, textiles, or food. We only have 1,500 square feet, so it's quite a small space. So we have to keep that in mind with what we're accepting. Next slide. We aim to take all of the things that the thrift stores don't want. So, um, you know, all those random little things that you're not really too sure if anybody would need or not, this is the place to bring it. It's a great place to find things. Like somebody found a dishwasher rack that was $300 for their dishwasher. So you can find the most random things here, but it works out really well. Next slide. So the heart and soul of the lodge is all of the volunteers. It is like a small village. I often joke that I could run a YouTube channel and pay all the taxes for our community based on that YouTube channel, because it is just full of life. And if you ever need to do some good, go volunteer because all of the people there are doing it for the goodness of their heart and they want to be there. So it's definitely the highlight of this place. Next slide. We have some volunteers like the fellow in orange glasses there, and he's been in the past 2 years. He's been there since the very beginning, but has also been there for like 500 hours a year he puts in. And we just love that Cecil comes and helps us out all the time. Next one. So another great advantage to this place is that people as young as 13 can volunteer. I think our oldest is into his 80s. So we have a demographic that is really, really wide. We work with a lot of youth. So is it going to switch to the next slide? So we have a lot of youth. We also have this is just a quick example of some of our youth. A lot of kids will come in, they have to do community service hours for school. So it's hard to find a location you can do only 8 hours at, or even 10 or 15 hours, or if you're only 13 or 14. So they can come here with their parents at 13 and 14, and then after 15, they can come by themselves. So it's a great opportunity from them. Next slide. It's also a great opportunity for people with disabilities to come and volunteer. We work with Goodwill, and a lot of people will come in and have an aide with them, and they both get a lot out of the organization and coming in and doing the tasks. And it's really good to see them light up and really feel like they have their place in life. Trace loves his new fart book. Next, please. The other one is that we work with kids and adults that are there to do their community service hours. A lot of these kids are just needing some guidance and a good place to do that. So the lodge is really great, and the volunteers actually really love that they can take these kids under their wing and help guide them to hopefully a better future. And having that experience at the lodge really does a lot of good. And we have actually quite a few of them that have stayed on as volunteers after their community service hours are done. Next, please. So the lodge is really great for teachers. This is just an example of something the teachers pulled together for projects that they have because it's all free. A lot of the teachers can come to us or not-for-profits and ask us for to hold on to things for them or collect things for them so that they don't have to pay for them. We have a social media group, so a Facebook group that's run by volunteers. I actually can't run one as part of the municipality, but they can. So that's been super helpful to us where people can ask questions, post things that they've done or seen at the lodge. It's been really super helpful. Next one. So because the volunteers are the heart and soul of the organization, we do spend most of our budget on recognizing them. So we like to take them on tours of places, like we took them to the Goodwill Impact Center. We also give them these pins to recognize how many hours they've had at the end of every year. And we have a very large percentage of the volunteers we have been there since the beginning, or they will continue to stay on because they really value the lodge and what it gives back to our community. Next, please. The other great part about the lodge is that we give back in a lot of different ways. So this is just some of the list of the organizations that we give back to. Obviously, any county department that calls that says, hey, we need 1,000 plant pots, like in the left-hand corner there. We're doing a planting thing at Canada Day, so we need 1,000 plant pots. Sure, no problem. Easy. We can send that to them. So it's a lot of things that they don't have to outsource and they can get for free. We give back to our Christmas Bureau, our food bank, our women's shelter, countless others as well. So it's really a good feeling for our volunteers to be able to get back to our community that way. Next, please. The stuff that we collected for the Christmas Bureau in the top right picture, we we had only collected for about a month and a half. So we're starting to collect for them next week. And I'm sure that that pile will quadruple easily before we get to November. We also do school tours. You can flip to the next one already. So our grade fours all come in to do a tour of the Enviro Service Station and the Hodgepodge Lodge as well. So it's really good. They get to do a little craft with everything and learn about a circular economy and how that works. Our sign in the bottom corner there was made out of all of upcycled stuff from the lodge too. So, these kind of awards um, really do a lot for us, especially in our program. Our program costs our municipality money. We don't make any money. So it is sometimes hard to see we need to grow or we need to expand our building or we need to expand our programming. So when we have an award like this that's recognizing the work nationally, it really opens up some doors and shows people that it's not just us saying we're really great, it's being recognized by others too. So that was super helpful. We were actually reached out to from the Bloomberg Ideas Exchange program to go into their portfolio as well. So we're working with them too. So being able to replicate our program in other municipalities is really what this is about because it is easy to replicate, but without getting the word out there and letting other people know about it, that's what's hard to do. So we're extremely grateful that we were recognized and appreciate you guys so, so much. So thanks again. There's one last slide. So yeah, like I said, we have been very, very fortunate in the past 2 years since opening up the new building to be recognized by quite a few different organizations. And this is what gets us the staffing that we need. And it gets us the expansion to say we needed a bigger building. This is why we need to build it. So without awards like this, we would probably still be that little one car shed working off 10 or 12 volunteers and having residents fight over things like kayaks that come in. So we're extremely grateful that we had this opportunity. Next slide. If you have any questions, please reach out. Happy to chat.
Thank you, Erin. Your story truly shows what a community can achieve together. And if you have any question for Erin, you can use Q&A box. We'll be very happy to answer those questions. And it's time to hear another success story by our second panelist. But before that, I would like to introduce our second panelist is Ariane Rose Tremblay. She is an environmental analyst for the city of Longueuil, and where she has worked for over 3 years. She also holds a master degree in environmental studies from University of Sherbrooke. Ariane, may I request you to please take it over from here? Thank you so much.
Oui, bonjour. Merci. Ben, tout d'abord, là, en fait, je voulais vraiment féliciter. C'est vraiment une super belle initiative, là. Mais maintenant, on va aller dans complètement un autre genre d'initiative, en fait. Je vais vous parler là, de notre plan de protection et de conservation des milieux naturels de la ville de Longueuil.
And conservation of natural environments for Longueuil. So I'm going to talk about the PPCMN instead of talking each time for the plan for the protection and conservation, etc. So I'm going to tell you about the context of the city of Longueuil. Then I'm going to talk about the initiative, our plan for protection and conservation, and then I'm going to talk about the Sustainable Communities Awards. So the context of the city of Longueuil, that's very important because now we're going to go ahead with the next slide. So Longueuil is the fifth most populated city in Quebec. It means that there's a lot of pressure for development. So when we adopted the plan in 2023, we had only 27% of the territory that was not developed. So when we talk about 30% for the global level, so we saw that we had very little left in 2023. And in the southern part of Quebec, there's good biodiversity. So we have in Longueuil the false cricket, we have the false cricket tree frog, and so we have a lot of species on our territory. And also there are different levels of planning. So of course we have planning at the provincial level, but Longueuil is part of the metropolitan area of Montreal. So we have to respect what's for the Montreal area. And then we also have the Longueuil agglomeration. And there's also the regional planning, the local planning. And so the city is at the forefront of climate change. So there's a responsibility to act, but it must correspond to the general context of other regions surrounding Longueuil as such. So next slide.
En fait, à l'adoption du PPCMN, donc en 2023,
when we adopted the PPCMN, we already had other plans that were to be adopted. So it was to see the linkage between the various plans and policies. We wanted to put together all the priorities and take them all into account. So next slide. So concretely, what is our initiative? What is this plan for the protection and conservation of natural environment? It becomes a priority that is to protect natural environments in perpetuity. So now we had many years to develop this plan. In 2017, there was the first work in order to update the first conservation plan of Longueuil that came back on 2005. But in 2021, there was an electric mobilization there, and there was a wish to protect in perpetuity the natural environment in Longueuil. Next slide. So we had two main objectives to the plan: protect an additional 1,500 hectares in perpetuity, therefore reaching 21% of the territory under protection by 2030. It's an ambition plan, considering what's left on the territory. And also the second objective was to expand public access to nature for the population at large. Next slide. So here we see what's happening in Longueuil. It gives you an idea of what's happening on the territory. So in dark green, you have the addition of 1,500 hectares of green space compared to what was existing before. So we double the space. And also there's a will for these natural environments to be linked. So we have to maintain these green spaces. We have to restore also. The next slide now. So we have established an action plan, and we have 5 main directions. So we have, first of all, conservation in order to have a protection for biodiversity, also connectivity. It's very important. And what's also important is accessibility. That means that the population must be able to benefit of green spaces. There's also a question of protection and restoration. So in Longueuil, it's an urban area, so there's a lot of pressure on Longueuil, and we also have to think of mobilization so that citizens will be engaged in the process. So we wanted to have regulatory approaches in order to implement the plan. So next slide now. So right from the beginning, it was important to study the governance. So we had the executive directorate that ensures consistency in the actions taken by the relevant departments. And then we had technical committees. So according to various themes, they implement the initiatives based on specific topics. So they continue to align internal planning and they identify and equip the leaders of each initiative because there are other partners that are involved in this case. Also, we had external partners. So right from the beginning, we worked with local organizations and environmental organizations. And also there are private owners. So we worked with private owners. So we wanted to use the environment network, the large corporate property owners, and also the funding partners. Next slide. Finally, in our action plan, we had various indicators or metrics so that these sites be protected in perpetuity till at least 2030. For example, we see the report that outlines the progress made toward conservation goals across the entire city of Longueuil. So in 2023, we wanted to protect 1,000 hectares, but we reached 2,100 hectares. But we see that there are other steps to undertake in order to ensure protection in a long-term basis. So next slide. As concerns our experience with the Sustainable Communities Awards, our objective and objective was very ambitious. So we wanted to present this plan, especially given that Longueuil is the fifth largest city in Quebec and the demand for development continues to grow. And the plan's process and roadmap can be adapted for use by other municipalities, and we hope to inspire other municipalities. We also had an ambition to stand out not only at the provincial level, but also across all of Canada. So we were very proud of receiving this award. Next slide. So a few examples that we have here of publications by the city. And the comments were linked to the award. So for us, it was important. Of course, this type of publication will not lead to a lot of views, but it was important for us to show the importance of the plan. And we wanted to show also that there's support on the part of the community, because it's not always obvious when we have private property owners. So that helped with the motivation of exception of acceptance of the plan.
Donc, si vous avez des questions, là,
So
n'hésitez
if
pas
you have questions,
à me
don't
joindre.
hesitate.
Puis sinon
Please
aussi, là,
contact
vous
me.
pouvez avoir plus d'informations sur notre site web.
And you can have more information
Merci
if
de
you go on our
passer la
website.
parole. Vas-y.
Thank you so much, Sharian. This is such a good story. And if you have any questions for Erin and Arian, you can use Q&A box to ask your questions. We can see some. I don't see any question. Yeah, Erin, I think there is a question for you. How initiatives like Hodgepodge Lodge can be positioned as complementary to local thrift stores rather than competing with them?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that we didn't take lightly either because we didn't want to compete with the three that we have. And so obviously talking to them ahead of time, but also that the concept is we want to take things that they don't want. And so we want to take all of those games that they have that maybe are missing a piece or two, or just those random bolts and things that wouldn't necessarily end up at that store. We do also refer to anybody that comes in with stuff that maybe looks like it should go to one of the thrift stores, we do give them the opportunity to say, hey, did you know about these three? You've got posters up and stickers so that they know where they can take it. And we do our best uh, to like let people know about those organizations so that they're not thinking that we're the only option. We also work with Goodwill. They have a donation bin on our site, and the other ones could as well if they wanted to. They just don't have bins, so they don't have those. So yeah, there's a couple different things that we do for that.
Okay, I'll just quickly check if there are more questions in Q&A. I don't see more questions. Oh, there is one in the chat box. What is typical percentage of protected green space in municipalities? I think this for you, Arian, this question?
Oui. Oui, oui, donc en fait, disons, souvent, du moins au Québec, il y a plusieurs endroits là, qui visent le 30%, donc il y a plusieurs municipalités, même au sein de la CMM, c'est l'objectif à atteindre, mais c'est un objectif là, dans le cas de municipalités plus populeuses là, euh, qui est répartie sur l'ensemble de la communauté métropolitaine. Donc, en effet, il y a des villes qui pourront pas l'atteindre, alors qu'il y a des villes qui vont pouvoir avoir un pourcentage un peu plus élevé. Donc, c'était mis cette cible-là autour de 21%, là, qui était une cible aussi similaire, là, par exemple, à Montréal, là, qui était une ville approche de notre situation. Donc, voilà.
Thank you so much. These are really good questions. And with this, we can go to next part of our presentation, which is the last part. And can I see the slides, please? Just give us a few seconds. All right, so this part is about SCA, what we are doing in year 2026. Next slide, please. So we'll start with overview and timelines for SCA this year. So a little background, SCA was started in year 2001 to celebrate innovative approaches to sustainability and inspire other municipalities. Since 2001, we have promoted 200 plus projects and recognized over 140 plus municipalities. And this is FCM's commitment to support innovation at grassroots level. If you see the flow chart on your screen, this is the delivery process flow for SCA, and all these steps are very relevant to you. So right now we are at nomination phase because you and your partners are working on the application, and the deadline for application submission is 28th of June. This window will close in June, and once this phase is over, we will do evaluation and selection, and our judges will review all the applications as per their expertise. This will be from July to August, and in the month of September, we will make announcements, winners will be notified, and next step for us from October to January, because by that time we'll know who the winners are, we'll work very closely with you, and we will prepare SCA materials. Those who don't know what SCA materials are, these are the case studies and these are the videos we'll produce for your promotion, and we'll prepare for ceremony, and we'll hire a coach who will help you to prepare for TED-like presentation that will be delivered in SCC 2027. Last step is, which will be at SCC February 2027, recognition and promotion. This is the time to shine. So you all will be celebrated. We will have ceremony. You will deliver your TED Talk presentation. You will meet, and there will be a lot of opportunities for learning and networking. Next slide, please. Okay, so now question is, who can apply? So all local governments in Canada and their project partners can apply. And under this big umbrella, there can be municipal owned corporation, non-governmental, non-profit organizations, private sector, indigenous communities, a regional, provincial, or territorial organization delivering municipal services, or affordable housing providers. Now, once you have this firm idea in your mind that you would like to apply for SCA 2026, next very obvious question is which category? So let's look at the category. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have 7+1 categories, total 8 categories this year. All these categories are aligned with current GMF programs and initiatives. It doesn't mean that non-FCM funded cannot apply for the awards. We are open for all. And the 7 sector categories are sustainable transportation, sustainable buildings, community energy, accelerating transformation to net zero, biodiversity and nature-based solutions, waste, climate adaptation. And the 8th category is reconciliation and AREI. So what does it mean for you? You will choose any category out of 7 sector categories of your choice. You will fill the application form, and by the end of application, we'll ask an additional question. Do you want us to assess your application under R and AREI category? And if you will select yes, there will be 3 additional questions which we will ask to assess how you have integrated R and AREI principles in your work. Next slide, please. All right, so what is needed to apply? What is the paraphernalia for success here? You will need a staff member, a representative who will work on your application, a letter of support, which is compulsory document. And if you don't have a letter of support, you can reach out to us. We do have some samples and we can share those samples with you. You need to fill out project details because you are applying for SCA. So you must know that what were the aims and objectives, who are the partners, and how collaboration was established, what were the environmental outcomes, socioeconomic outcomes, how they were measured, how they were documented. So all that sort of information will be required, and we will assess that information pieces in the form. Last, a picture, but not the least. So picture is the face of your application, and the picture will be used for the promotional purposes. And now, what is the process of applying? So you can see a snapshot on the right-hand side in the slide. So there's a green button which says nominate a project. In that, you have to click that green button. It will take you to a submission portal, which is submittable. And there is a QR code at the bottom. If you scan it, it will again take you to the submission portal. So submittable is a platform we are using for the application form. It is a very easy to navigate portal. If you have any problems in the navigation, you can reach out to us. We'll be very happy to help you. And there are around 30 questions in the application form, and these 30 questions are same for all the categories, and there are additional 3 questions for R plus AREI category. You can apply multiple times for multiple projects under one or more categories. But when you are making your mind that you want to submit 2 applications, you have to complete 1 application first before starting the second one, because if you start 2 applications together, there can be overwriting and it will introduce errors. So suggestion, finish your one application, then start your second application. So the thumb rule, one category, one project, and one submission. Next slide, please. Okay, so how we gonna make a delicious recipe? So there are some best practices we would like to share with you. Before starting, you need to check whether you are eligible or not. And the biggest check here is the time window. So your project must be between January 2023 to July 2026. There are some questions in the form where we are trying to understand what were the outcomes, how you measured the outcomes, how you help communities. So keep sustainability at the core while answering those questions. Start application early, get familiar with submission platform and application form questions. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. And it will be very good if you can support your application with data and examples. It will be very helpful for our judges to see the data and examples, which is strengthening your storytelling or narrative about your project. So you can see there are some questions in the cloud. I hope those questions are answered. Next slide, please. Okay, so another thing is what should you avoid? So you should be very clear about the category. Do not choose a wrong category. And best way to do it is go to our website, read rationale for each category and see that your project is mapping well with which category. Do not use overly technical and vague language. Use plain language. Keep your application very easy, lucid, easy to understand. Do not submit incomplete applications. Those will be rejected. And take time to prepare your application. Do not do it in hurry because, again, it will introduce a lot of errors. And judges will be focusing a lot on impacts and outcomes. So spend a lot of time in writing your impact and outcomes. Next slide, please. Okay, now you must be wondering that we will be doing such hard work. If we'll win, what we'll get. So there are some perks for you. We will make an official announcement. There will be a press release that will go to our website and our social media channels. A letter will go to the mayor and we'll promote you. We'll make your case studies, we'll record you, we'll make your videos and promote them. We will hire a speaking coach who will work very closely with you and they will prepare you for the SCC ceremony and TED-like presentation. We will present you award at Sustainable Community Conference 2027, and there will be a lot of opportunity for learning and networking. Next slide, please. So these are some happy pictures from year 2024. I can see Erin there. So very nice pictures and apply by June 28. And we'll hope that we will receive a lot of applications this year. Next slide, please. Okay, all right. So if we do have any questions about the process, we will be very happy to take them. I'll just wait for a few minutes to see if there are questions popping in. I'm just monitoring the chat if there is something in the chat box. In the Q&A. So there was a question about, are Indigenous communities eligible for FCM funding programs? Answer is yes, they are eligible. And okay. Okay, so all right. So I can see some questions now. So the very first question is, I opened the application form and see only 16 questions rather than 30. I also don't see section where applicants can share their broader story of the project, including its impact, outcomes, and supporting data. Okay, so you have to, for question number 16, you have to choose yes or no. If you will choose no, because that question is about the time window. If you'll choose no, the application form will be end there. You are not eligible. And if you will choose yes, you will be able to see following questions after that. So that question is about the time window. That is one of the major eligibility criteria for the awards. And if the project we are submitting includes community partner, we can list them in the submission as long as they are comfortable being identified. I think yes. Answer is yes. And there is a section in the application where we ask you to write about team members, so you can add their names there. I also had a question regarding the letter of support requirement. As a non-profit organization, we will be submitting the application on behalf of municipal region. Would a letter of support from a senior staff member within the regional government be acceptable, or does it need to come from the municipality? I think senior staff member can also approve this. Um I can discuss it internally one more time. But I think answer is yes, that senior staff member within the regional government can approve it and can give you letter of support.
Yeah, I can jump in just
Yeah.
to add. I mean, this is correct. It's going to be a bit of a case by case, depending on your project and situation. But as long as you can demonstrate a clear implication of, well, first, depending on who's the lead applicant and lead project team member, and as long as you can demonstrate the involvement of the municipality or regional government, then yes, that would be acceptable. But if you want to discuss this more further, we can, yes, please contact us at awards@fcm.ca, and we'll be more than happy to discuss your case.
Okay, all right. I don't see more questions in the Q&A box. I'll just quickly check chat box if there is something there. There was a question about how many winners per category. So answer is 1. And I don't see more questions. If we can go to the slides one more time. Next slide, please. So these are some information pieces for you. As Anne-Charlotte mentioned, that you can reach out to us at awards@fcm.ca. You can subscribe to our newsletter, which is FCM Connect, and there is a FAQ page on our website. You can go through it if you have any questions. Next slide, please. We have next webinar. The theme for this webinar is Implement and Integrate Your Climate Adaptation Plan. It is on June 25th, and you can sign up for this webinar. This will be a very good webinar. So now we can launch a short poll. We have a question. Okay. Okay, I'll just, yeah, so we can share this letter of support with you. We have noted your email ID. We'll reach out to you. Thank you so much. If you will give your feedback through this poll, it will be really helpful for us for our improvement.
Wait. Just before we launch a poll, we have a few more minutes. Sandrine, can you go back a couple slides before? Just, I know sometimes it's hard to ask question when you're not sure what to ask about. But a couple more slides. One more. Yeah, one more. Oh, lots of pictures. Erin, Ariane, I'm sure that brings back memories also from 2 years ago. And one more, sorry, the one with questions and bubbles and pitfalls. But yes. So here are some questions we have received. So one about the letter of support. Sometimes you might not have it ready by the deadline, and that's okay. We understand that getting support from council or getting support from your team or leadership team can take some time. So again, a bit of a case by case here, but as long as you can demonstrate some sort of support and that we get a letter of support signed at some point, your application will be considered and eligible. Another one we received is, Vishali mentioned this, but any sustainable projects are eligible. It doesn't have to be funded by GMF. If it is funded by GMF, you'll see there is a question where we ask about your GMF funding application number. This is purely to help us, identify the GMF funded project, but it doesn't have to. So yeah, this is a common pitfall or thought people have when they look at the SEA awards. We had the question about one winner per category. So yes, it's only one winner per category. It is possible that if you decide to also submit your project for the reconciliation and anti-racism, equity and inclusion category, there is a chance your project win that category as well. So potentially one application can win 2 awards. And again, on this category, don't hesitate. Even if you're not sure, even if your project doesn't cover everything around reconciliation, like we're not asking you to cover everything. It's more if you think your project advance to some extent reconciliation and or principles of anti-racism, equity, or inclusion. We'd love to know more and would love to see your application under that category. There is a question.
Okay, there is. I will just
it's
look at the
yeah.
Q&A. So it was about letter of support template. Yeah, I have answered that. Yeah, we'll reach out to you. That's all. So if there are no more questions, have we launched the poll, Sandrine? So we can launch the poll quickly. And I would request you to answer the poll. This will not take much time, not more than 60 seconds. This is a very short poll. Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to thank our panelists today, Erin and Arian. Thank you so much for finding time and helping us with today's webinar. Your stories are so inspiring. I hope it will motivate a lot of people today to apply for the awards and do good work towards sustainability. And thank you so much for joining us today. That's all from us. Thank you, and hopefully we'll receive your application soon. Thank you so much.